1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome back to another Cops Mentality podcast. Is this episode 16 or are we calling this episode 1?
Well, this would have been episode 2.
Right.
Because he was the first guest, but the second episode that we actually recorded.
So this is episode 16/2.
16
divided by 2.
Second take.
Divided by
Or
2.
2 second
Two
take.
second take. There we go.
2.0.
With our guest, John. For those of you who don't know, another Cops Mentality podcast is hosted by 3 active law enforcement individuals who met in the police academy, 2 of which are also United States veterans. Thank you, fellas, for your service.
Free food.
We started this podcast to normalize talking about mental health, specifically mental health with obviously men, but women as well, from parenting, from being on the job, from military aspect, really all walks of life. We wanted to make this something that a lot of people could relate to, and maybe even get a little more comfortable in their own home, in their own head, that people are out there talking about the hard things, the stigmas, the things that maybe some people are either nervous about or afraid to talk about, and to realize that what you may be going through is normal. And I think we've done that so far. What do you guys think?
I think, yeah, not only do we think that it's fine, it's the feedback that we've been getting from individuals. We get a lot of DMs all the time where we read them and it's like, thank you guys for doing what you guys are doing. We get text messages, and these are people that don't know us other than listening to the podcast. So that's gratifying when you get Instagram message like that saying, hey, thank you for what you guys are doing. Not enough people are doing what you guys are doing, so we appreciate the fact that you guys are doing it. So it's awesome because we are doing exactly what we set out to do, which is normalize the mental health aspect and having people feel comfortable enough to share their story, because that's the problem. I feel like it's this with the stigma, people still don't feel comfortable enough to share their stories. So we have people that have reached out to us, a lot of them, and we appreciate you guys for reaching out. We appreciate you guys for listening. Now we appreciate you guys for viewing.
Hey,
So thank you guys. And again, it's very gratifying and satisfying to hear the feedback from people that don't know us, just other than listening to the podcast.
It's powerful, too, because, we keep talking about that Arkansas story, but we have a lot of those, right, from different states and different places. And, we talk about the negativity of social media and how it has impact on our mental health as well. But it honestly can be a tool for an incredible outcome. For example, right now, I just want to talk about it before we dive into John, Justin and Darielle. Right, Chris and I said that we might bring it up on this podcast if that's okay with you too. Justin is a law enforcement.
What am I gonna say? We're gonna put me on the spot. Am I gonna be like, no, don't talk about Justin? Like, come on now.
Number one, we need a little banter because
now they got the camera now, so even if I go like this, they gotta see me.
Piece of shit.
I can't cut those out.
This is the another Cops mentality. You got Angel, Chris, and Matthias. So for us, I want to be on the same page. But obviously, just reiterating what I was just saying about Justin and Darielle. Justin's a law enforcement officer too in the NYPD, and really good friend of us.
Of ours.
A.K.A. Adam Levine.
Adam Levine. To us.
To us. Yeah, to the real one. That's us. Yeah.
And we just got back I just got back from his wedding in Greece, and it was just a beautiful experience. And his wife looked stunning. Everything was incredible. And this last year has been hard for Justin. He just lost his dad to unexpected heart attack. And then now he gets back from his trip, and his wife is diagnosed with stage 3, possibly 4 breast cancer. And it's sad, number one. It's sad, it's tough, it's a hard hit. Life just keeps going after it and after and after it. And, Justin's been doing a really good job with his own mental health, which I'm hoping to have him on here at some point. But just going back to like the power of social media, we put up a GoFundMe page for them because unfortunately she's going to be out of work, starting chemo and everything else, and Justin's going to be unfortunately affected as well by all this.
By being the sole provider.
By being the sole provider and now having to stay home and
to take time to take care of her.
Yeah.
Right.
How does that affect his income base?
100%. 100%. So I just figured, you know what? Like, I had spoken to Ingenito, and he's like, dude, we should do something for them. And I was like, absolutely. Let's see what social media can actually do. Let's put it to good use. And I put up, I think it was like a $15,000, starting cap. That was yesterday.
That was it.
That was last night.
Not even a full day.
last night.
Yeah,
You texted
me last night, like
not even a full
6:30
24
at
hours.
night.
I think last night was 6:30, so I think it's been 24 hours as of now. And I'll give you an accurate number, but I know it's above $20,000 right now.
It was at 22 last time I checked.
Almost an hour ago.
Yeah.
That is just incredible, man. That is incredible. First of all, I know there's a lot of people that listen to this podcast, and they've also donated. So thank you.
Thank
Number
you.
one,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. $22,320 as of last night into
how
today.
How much?
22. You waited until after I closed the phone. $22,320. All right,
That's
I'm
awesome.
hoping to keep getting that number, higher and higher, because the more money, the more we can help them. And this never goes unnoticed. It doesn't fall in the gap. It doesn't fall in a void. I know Justin. Justin's done a lot of good stuff for the law enforcement community. He does a lot of stuff with films, with recording, with podcasts, with nutrition companies. I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to pay it forward, once they're in the clear of this.
That's a sweetheart. Absolutely.
He's incredible. So much love to Darielle and Justin. We love you guys. We're definitely going to be putting your story out there on the podcast. We're going to continue to share it on social media, and hopefully that, that response will show you a little bit of what kind of support and love is out there.
And that's like, we're going to have that link in the bio on our Instagram page, and I'll try and throw that up on the TikTok, see if I can figure out how to get that on there. But those of you who have never been the recipient of GoFundMe, because we had it when my dad was sick, what an amazing feature that helps. I mean, my mom would cry nightly because they didn't want it. My parents aren't that way. We're like, oh, we want people's help.
Same thing with them, by the way.
We
They didn't want
set
it.
it up for them. We almost did what you did. We set it up for them. And the amount that it took off my parents' shoulders, so again, my dad was supposed to retire. Couldn't retire. He was dying. My mom was forced to retire to take care of him. So at that point, you got you have one short retirement, essentially. And people's generosity, it leaves you speechless because of what it does for you. And this is what it's going to lead to one of our brothers, right, and his wife, who obviously we all care and love and respect and want to be there for. And but I know some people are like, oh, it's a GoFundMe. It's those people don't get it, and I strongly disagree. I think GoFundMe is an amazing, amazing thing, and I know he's happy and proud that you set that up for him, and obviously we'll be there for him and his wife in any way they need. And just real quick before we introduce John, back to when you were talking about Angel getting messages from people, I've even gotten more and more people that walk up to me that we know, that I'm close with. Hey, I'm listening to the podcast. I had somebody else come up to me yesterday, and we had a great conversation. They were explaining how they didn't know certain things about me when they started listening to the podcast. I'm trying to leave it very vague, obviously, so nobody knows who, what, whatever else. And that they had gone through very similar experiences in their life. And we had a great conversation that we probably wouldn't have had. Great person, just we wouldn't have had that conversation, that in-depth closeness. And they opened up a lot in the conversation. So even right there, that sense of, because the other question we get is, how's the podcast going? You're always like, I don't know, like good?
Yeah.
It's so hard to tell. Like we look at
Feedback.
numbers.
I can tell you
like
from
that.
the outside, I've definitely taken something from every episode that I've listened to, and I've listened to them all. And I didn't want to chime in you guys before, but
No, you're
also
good.
you guys have visited a wide variety of mental health, whether it's wives, siblings, everybody. Like it's a lot of different variables of trauma and drama that you guys have, and that's what I feel is the best thing when people hear it and know like other people are like going through it. Because like you said, like taking handouts. So people don't want to ask for help. People don't want to take help. People don't want. It's a hard situation, man. Like, they really just kind of bow your head and be like, okay, it's okay.
And that's
it's okay not to be okay.
That's something for you to remember too, because before we end the podcast, I want you to talk about something you're doing for Christmas, which is obviously going to be posted on Monday, and it'll give you an opportunity to
The
kind
teaser
of
we put up, the teaser to the episode.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. We'll definitely do that. One more thing too is it's not all going to be positive either. I have heard some people say, hey, we kind of want to hear some more topics too, not just mental health, but it is geared towards the mental health, platform. And at the same time, this person said that they want to hear more drama, about, what the story is. Now, while I get that,
What you want to hear? Fucking gossip? I don't do that.
talk about sobriety.
Watch Gossip Girls.
it's very difficult. It's very difficult, to talk about, not really necessarily drama, but in spicing it up. This is like people's life stories.
Yeah.
We can't alter.
You can't
we
spice up people's stories.
This is the real deal, Holyfield. This ain't a soap
The
opera.
people that come on the show, they're going to share what they want to share.
They're comfortable with.
And they're comfortable with. I know that we've had people on this podcast that could have shared 3 hours more of material, and they chose not to, including ourselves.
You could have had a fucking documentary on you.
And there's, I think one of the things they may look at is when they're talking about drama. I know we've had people reach out like, how do you deal with, a supervisor that's not picking on you, but like, targets you, and that may be one thing they're kind of talking about. And the other one may be they want to hear the in-depth version of people's stories, which I get. But like you said, you got. I mean, it's what the guest wants to share. The guest wants to share. If they're out, I was on this raid and I killed somebody. I mean,
that's on me.
Well, then cool. I mean, we want to hear it, but at the same point as being law enforcement, what's the worst question we always get asked by people? What's the worst thing you've seen? I'm like, cool,
did you
thanks.
double lock the cuffs?
Right. Like, thanks for unlocking the demons. I don't feel like sharing or talking about. Sorry.
No, you're good. I said that we also had people reach out to us saying, hey, talk about bad FTOs, like on the job. Like, I don't know, that wasn't my experience, so I can't tell you what a bad FTO was, because I didn't have that experience. Field training officer, so I didn't have that experience, so I can't talk about something.
And we're not experts of anything except our own lives,
My FTOs were great. I remember people giving me their phone numbers, like, hey, listen, when you get stuck on a call, if you don't know what to do, give me a call. I'll drive by and I'll help you, or I'll walk you through the process on the phone. Whatever the way it was back then.
But things are also changing. Like you just hit it.
100%.
Back then, because my FTO
8 years ago
had 25 years on.
Ago.
My FTO had 25 years on, and when I showed up to his car, he was extremely professional. His uniform was still lines down the pants, line down the shirt, mustache and regs.
That's all me, except for the mustache.
He wasn't a salty shitbag.
Except for the stash. I don't do that.
The stash. Well, you know what?
That's why I keep a beard.
Good at this time.
Yeah, I don't know. That's such a typical thing for like guys that become police officers. They let their stash grow, and it's like, all right, so you just became an asshole out of nowhere.
That's like my dad. That's like Mr. Ferreira. That's like my father. Had the mustache or the goatee. Like, I don't know. That's a topic we can talk about. Personal opinions. I just don't like the way it looks in uniform. But that's just, listen, hold on a second. But then you also hear about people having it for medical reasons, and you got to be okay with that.
We got to have a whole separate episode. Let's get into. I would say let's get into.
Like an ingrown hair.
Because there's a lot of stuff that may look unprofessional to people. Namely, tattoos. People see tattoos and they see that as unprofessional. So let's not get into this conversation right now, and let's focus on our guest that we have sitting here. That's just going like this, look like a bobblehead.
You guys, some of the things that you chimed in are like, if you got a problem like a case or a call. You have someone to call.
Yeah,
it's having each other's backs.
That's it.
But it's also good. Like, I just read a book too about this guy. He was actually an Army vet. He was a California CO, retired. Is it Hector Bravo? Great book, and it was all about because the new class of people don't want to have each other's backs because they want to go the stereotype, like the old school people, like you said, creases. Best dressed lines, but now people want to go for shaving waivers, and that's in the military hugely. They just came out with a thing. I think the Air Force, they want to shave. You don't have to shave. I used to have to shave twice a day, bro. I walked around with toilet paper all over my face. There were 2-blade razors. There's no Gillette 5, Mach 5.
Let's introduce the person talking.
We get the two-blade Bics.
Give him an introduction. Mr. John Shea.
My name's John.
Hold on.
It's like,
Hold on.
Let's give you the formal introduction.
I'm out of control.
So we can get into it. Let's give you the formal introduction so we can get into it.
there has been no drinking in this episode. No,
At all.
Sober. Sober ambassador.
How many years? How many years?
January 14th.
Can we introduce the guy?
Oh, well, he just went into it,
Let's
so I want to know.
introduce the guy. Hold on.
He is introducing himself. Listen, John
Not
Shea.
LT.
Not me.
John Shea is an incredible human being. That's number one. Number two,
I learned from you.
served in the United States Air Force. He was a. I'm gonna respect you because you're both out now, but now we're fucking nasty civilians. Nasty.
You wanna
civilians.
roll?
Let's roll, baby. Let's roll.
Bro, there's zero fear in
Watch
this
out for
You
your
got
house.
mats? You got
Watch out
mats
for the
down here?
shins.
We don't need
I do have
mats.
mats
What do you need
down
mats?
there.
Why? You don't want to fall so
He's
hard?
soft. He's soft.
Yeah, he wants to tuck
The
you in.
Marines are soft.
I was telling you that you're an incredible human being. Stop trying to kill me for 5 seconds.
Whoa. Don't backtrack, bro.
Like,
You gotta go forward. We go forward, bro.
Do
We adapt.
it.
We overcome. We figure it out.
All
That's
right.
why you're supposed to.
So,
you're supposed to
Angel's
stop
gonna have a
and
heart
think
attack if
before
I don't
you react.
introduce you. Give me
No,
5 seconds.
he's holding himself back. That's what his heart attack is because he's
chilling.
holding that anger. He wants to tuck and roll.
All right, so you got an Air Force sniper. He's got an incredible story to help people, especially with alcohol abuse. He talks about that. He talks about Warrior Ranch.
He hasn't spoken yet, but he will talk
He
about
will.
that.
He will talk about these things. I just wanted to bring John in because I think he is
For the second time.
example for the second time. 2.0.
We had to
Long
scrap
story
the
that
first.
that wasn't my job.
It
We
was
had to
not.
scrap the
Hey,
first.
we were learning.
Oh,
right?
wait,
We were learning.
who ordered that microphone? Whose idea was it?
The microphones are great.
I think it was Crayola's.
It was Criollas.
Okay,
How was that?
Hey, that's
how
nice.
was that after score?
those are some nice microphones.
They
but
are. We just got to
we
figure
just
them
gotta
out.
figure
We
it
just
out.
got to figure out how to use
But
them. That's for a different time. and
That's
place.
what we do. That's a key thing.
We want to bring
you
John in
figure it
because
out.
John is if you haven't noticed, he is a tornado of emotions and knowledge and, helping people. And he's been in many places, especially down. And when you have somebody who is this energetic and this passionate about life and has so many different people that look for him for, really
Advice.
outcome, mentorship, example. He is him. So John, look, all
Did
bullshit
you
aside,
say he's him?
he's him.
Oh,
am.
damn.
He is him.
He is that guy, pal.
He is that guy.
He is that guy.
He is that
You
guy.
know when they tell you don't be that guy? He's that guy.
All bullshit aside, I look up to you, man. You are a real good example for what somebody. Because see, I think a lot of us have had this moment where
I need the whole roll. Homie.
I
I
feel.
show my emotions.
Hey, listen. There's a lot of people, including myself, at a young age. I think we can at least acknowledge this.
I'm 45, bro.
We don't know when we're younger. We look at people who have made mistakes in life, and we really just go, "Wow, what a piece of shit! That person's such a piece of shit." We always have a way to look down on people, especially when we haven't quite gotten to the railroads and crossed those railroads like you have, and the reasons why maybe you drank too much, or maybe why you had so many bad coping mechanisms, or maybe why you had so much struggle with relationships. And then you and I have been going to church with Angel as well, finding God and looking for healthier alternatives, looking for healthier coping mechanisms to such a chaotic world. So I think that you honestly just exemplify what a good example is to somebody who maybe is here and we need to get them where you're at now. So what we want to talk about today is, maybe some of the challenges that you've had in the last, let's call it 20 years, right? What are some of the struggles that you had when you were in the military, transitioning to society, maybe what you're doing now? So that's kind of the things that we want to roll into. And again, you're a very passionate person, so we're going to be like this whole podcast.
Roller coaster of life.
Yeah.
We are. And that's fine, but I want at least these things for the public, for the listener and viewers now to get from you. Number one, who you are and why you're here. Number two, what do you do for a living? Number three, how did you get here? And number four, some of the old coping mechanisms that you had that you no longer have, or you continue to face them and really knock them down, because you've learned how to embrace some of these feelings and emotions and you kind of move forward. So why don't we start that? Why don't we start how you started? Why did you go to the Air Force? And how old were you at the time?
I definitely joined us 2003. I was 23 years old. It was definitely, I would say, the beginning of my situation was definitely a lot of childhood trauma. and it wasn't like it was just toxic. Parents divorced before I was born. Definitely both alcoholic, drug addicts. Back and forth, they can deny all they want. Obviously, my mom's a living case. She drank herself to death when I was 33 years old. So it was a really long bouncing around, a lot of basement apartments, way too many school districts. I have zero friends from, I'd say, from 7th grade below. I couldn't even tell people's names. I couldn't tell you all the schools I went to. I had no idea. Like, you do black out some trauma. It was good. My mom and stepfather, they moved to Islip. I was 7th grade to try to get a better life, bought a house, all like that. It was my first time living in one house for like more than a year. Once it passed a year.
You're clearly very emotionally mature now, right? I hate to do this to you, but can we talk a little bit? Can we just take let's take a ride, back to 7th grade, all right? How did that make you feel? Like, what were now you are able to identify some of those emotions. Then you were probably like a typical 7th grade kid, like slamming the door. I hate you, mom. Like, fuck you. Who were you when you were in 7th grade? Because childhood trauma, from my understanding, from what I've heard from people, is things that you experience when you get older. You don't really know you're in it, when you're younger. This affects you there.
That's very true.
So
extremely true.
Let's talk about how you felt back then. Like, looking back now, if you can recall 7th grade John.
7th grade John was like, we moved to this town. It's hard because 7th grade, I think
Was that Islip, you said?
Yes. You got to be about 12 years old.
12, 13?
Yeah. So all those kids that are in that 7th grade, I'm going to say probably back then, about 90% of them had been friends for years.
Yeah.
Like, they've known each other, grew up with each other. Now you just dump me in. I don't know nobody or anything. I come from the city, you're like Nassau, Queens border. I don't know what streets are. I don't know what towns are. I don't know zip codes. I don't know phone numbers. I don't know stores. I don't know nothing. Drop in there and so you're a fit, a goldfish dropped into a bowl. Like, you're just like, what do? You don't have any skills. I was always bounced around. I had no introducing myself. How you doing? Who's this?
Goldfish dropped into a bowl.
You don't know what you're doing, what you're supposed to do, how to communicate. And you want to talk about trauma, and you don't know what you're going through till you're older. They would say, I would say my mom and stepdad, their choice, they could do whatever, they did the best they could, but they would go for the lunch card. So if you make us under a certain amount of money, the kids can eat free. But that kid's got to go to the lunch monitor and get that card.
Yeah.
Everybody in that cafeteria,
you're facing the embarrassment.
Yeah, everybody in that cafeteria knows why you're going to get that card.
Yeah.
And then when you realize that, you stop getting the card. So then you stop eating.
Which kids are fucking ruthless.
Yeah,
So you're the one having to face that trauma.
That's because they don't understand what's happening. They just know that they're gonna make fun of you, and they don't know the repercussions of making fun of somebody
later on.
And when we were growing up, it wasn't like bullying wasn't a thing. People would just pick on you, and you're like, I'm getting picked on.
Dad would like me across the street 3 o'clock.
Tell us all about that.
Fighting was easy, man.
That's not me. I was the one doing the picking.
See, we got both sides of the freaking fence here. We got the picker and the picky. So
I used to pick on people like boogers.
That's a tough age, man. That's a tough age, and I think that we can kind of talk a little bit about kids. My daughter's definitely had some moments already as a 10-year-old getting bullied, and she's gotten some comments. I don't know if you want to share anything your girls ever said, but my daughter was supposedly told that she's a lesbian. Like, why do you know that you're at 10 years old? It's some little girl, because I read her iPad. All right, the iPad said, "You're the reason why your mommy and daddy got divorced." Like,
God
shit like that.
damn, bro.
That's pretty intense
I
as a
definitely lived
10-year-old.
some of that shit, man.
So when
That's
you hear
intense.
those, I'm just trying to see if I can kind of relate to you here, because you're older now. But when you were that young, did you ever hear some of those things?
I was told to lie in family court, and I thought I had no idea what I was doing. Like you said, till these days.
Who was telling you to lie in court?
My dad, my stepmom, and put my mom put her in a horrible position, and I had no idea what I did. I thought I was doing the right thing, but all this thing, and then you realize what the f you just did.
So they used you, which
My
is
whole
horrible.
life.
Which is a common thing.
Whole
A lot of
life,
kids
bounce
are
you
used as a
around. Like,
pawn.
I could show you hockey pictures. I got the wrong jersey on because homeboy was drinking, and even though it is my responsibility, but you have a little bit of a backup plan when you have a parent.
Well, I think you said it earlier. You black out. So I don't think you're really thinking about, hey, I got to get this shirt, or I got to get my pads, or I got to do this. You're just, I hate to say this, but you're surviving.
Yeah.
You know, like your body goes
Yeah.
into full survival mode in this trauma of like, I'm going into an unhealthy home. You know, you probably didn't eat because you didn't want to get that lunch card, and maybe there wasn't food at home because mom or dad or stepmom, stepdad was too busy doing something else. So now you're kind of learning to be independent. As a 12, 13-year-old, that is dangerous. Because again, we're not medical experts here, but from my understanding, your frontal lobe doesn't even stop developing until you're like 26 years old.
Yeah.
You know, so as
Which
a
is why-
13-year-old, you're learning to adapt, you know, to what?
By yourself.
To things
'Cause
that
you
you've
have
created by
zero
yourself.
people, zero people to go to. And it just,
Do you think that having that childhood trauma and dealing with all the stuff that you dealt with, do you think that's what pushed you into the military? Like for any reason? Like, is that.
it's got a little extra to it, though.
Yeah.
It would be like, you know, because we could fast forward, they talk about the roller coaster throughout those years to like high school, definitely bounced around with a couple different groups of kind of friends, but the end of the high school friends, definitely is not good, man. Definitely not good. Some of them are good. There's a couple I still talk to. Actually, I have two friends from high school. They're good friends. I don't name names, but they're definitely they always have my back.
So I have something for that, right? You said you were probably hanging out with the wrong crowd, right?
You want the answer to that? I
But
got this.
no, my thing is, I think as individuals, you make that choice
Oh, yeah.
because
Trying to fit in.
I had the
cool.
wrong what we would call the wrong friends,
Oh, yeah.
but I wasn't doing the wrong things when they were doing the wrong things. You get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I used to hang out with the wrong people. But they did things that I never did.
Yeah, I just
You know,
held
like-
the steering wheel.
what I'm saying is we make our
Oh, yeah,
choices.
oh, yeah.
You know, like
100%.
I had the wrong friends, right? But I didn't make the wrong decisions like they were making. So
It's like the jersey. I couldn't blame my dad 'cause it really is my jersey.
and that's what I'm saying. It's like we can't always point fingers and say,
nah,
"Yeah, I was
that
run-
you
I was
gotta
running around with the
realize.
wrong crowd." But you have to be also realize, like, hey, I had some input
You
in
could have
that.
made the decision
Yeah, of
not
course,
to
you could have
do
made
the
the
things
decision.
you
That was like my sobriety. Like,
Why not
I
hang
could
out with the
blame
people that
anything.
were smart, right? That
I
were
was
getting good
Irish.
grades.
My parents did it. It was me that put the bottle to
Yeah.
my lips. I couldn't. And that's when you realize when you take responsibility for your own actions is when it starts getting very clear how to.
But seeing your parents do it their whole
Oh, yeah,
lives,
'cause it's- I don't think it's- you
it
follow that example.
normalized it in your head that it was like it was
They
okay
have
for
a
you to do
problem, they
it.
drink. I got a problem. I'll drink.
You saw like that was a
Exactly.
coping mechanism.
That's what I used to say
You
all the
resorted
time.
to what
100%.
they resorted to.
Right.
So in
You
your
follow
mind, it's like, hey,
example.
my parents do this because
He's-
they're stressed. My parents do this because they're fighting. And now you get stressed, and now you start fighting, and now you're like, this is what my parents did.
I
So
got,
you start
I got
doing
a
it.
drunk dad yelling racist words. I'm repeating them.
Yeah.
Am I? Hell no. I'm not racist. I hate everybody equally. We get into the military. We get in the military. Everybody's green. bro.
Everybody's green.
I don't get the
Yep.
choice who's going to carry me back to across that line
Yeah.
if I get shot. It's not, I can't. Oh, only want the Irish kid. Like I don't want the. I don't have that choice. But we got to have each other's back.
Yeah.
There's no pick
Yeah.
and choose.
But we've talked about that, how alcohol and how parents' habits, things like that, and how society has taught everyone to cope or deal or have fun is almost surrounded by alcohol. Want to have a good time? Alcohol.
You know, well,
You want to get enthusiastic?
it's crazy. It's crazy because, you know, especially in our culture, like in Spanish people, I'm sure in other cultures as well. Irish, like my grandfather used to give me, you know,
Italians.
a half glass of Pepsi and put a little beer in it.
But it's,
You know,
it's how it's
How'd that
delivered.
taste?
Wait, Pepsi and beer?
Yeah.
I know it
I
sounds
would say
crazy.
that's
Don't
such a
know.
weird combo.
Whiskey and milk.
Don't whiskey and milk.
I heard that.
We'll
Like,
revisit that one
I've
some
been going to
trauma.
school.
Listen, do not, hey, don't knock it until you try it. My brother still drinks it like that. But it's just, sometimes it's just like you said, just what do they call that word?
Routine.
No, when you think of nostalgia, right? Sometimes it's a little bit of nostalgia. You know, you think about your grandparents, your parents, things you used to do, but it made you feel cool because the adults were drinking wine or beer or whatever, and then grandpa's like, hey,
You want to fit in.
here's a little bit, you know? So now it starts as maybe entertainment, right? You're drinking with your family, your friends, and before you know it, it's getting worse and worse and worse, and you don't know how to stop it.
But again, I think it all goes back to what your culture does. Because again, my wife's family's in Germany. I mean, they drink.
Yeah.
Right. Even when I go, everyone goes out at lunch and has 2 beers. But it's how the culture itself feels about drinking. Like they don't drink and drive. Their alcoholism rate is way lower than ours. For that reason, like they'll have some drinks at night, but they stop. But that's not how they cope. They're just, again, is it the best way even to
Yeah.
relax? No, but
Well,
again,
like
it's
when
how
you go to
our
Europe,
culture
they drink wine
Right.
with every
Yeah,
meal.
our
So-
culture
with
revolves
each
around
meal.
Exactly.
alcohol.
Just
It's a
one, but
huge
it's like,
problem.
you know, it's, I think it's just one glass. But
So,
yeah, like
so
that's-
then you end
it's
up
their
obviously you
soda.
end up getting into alcohol. Was that prior to the military? That you started drinking prior to the military?
Negative.
When you get into the military,
I definitely, I could say throughout my high school career to like 23 years old, I maybe drunk like a couple times. There was definitely nights I was drunk, but it was definitely like.
So now we get into one of these career
Yeah.
fields that we've spoken about,
That
where
was the mingling,
it's
bro.
super normal to now
no,
drink.
it is. It's,
at every event.
it's what we do.
That's the thing to do, right?
Oh, yeah.
Drink
Oh,
and smoke,
bro.
right? Everybody smoking cigarettes or doing the little
Chewing
dip or
tobacco,
whatever it
shit.
is. You get what I'm saying?
Can't
So
smoke.
you get into this culture,
I want
right?
to slow down the conversation a little bit. Hold on.
But you're already
Hey,
predetermined.
Can you do this
Yeah.
again? Hold on. I want to slow down the conversation.
It's all about fitting in.
Hey, what would you do? to This little lip.
Dip.
My
It's
guy
dip.
said.
Pack your lip.
This little lip.
I kill it.
Yeah.
Now you got Zins, right?
First time I did one of
pouches?
those things, bro. I had
threw
to
up.
vomit.
Yeah, same thing. It was in the summer,
Peach
bro.
skull.
That was first and last time I did it.
Your first one was
I felt like I was in a hangover. Yeah, peach skull. I put a pouch in. I put a
And guess
pouch
where
in.
I
was
did it
like,
for the first time?
You gotta go with some
I was,
wintergreen.
I was in, I was in tech school in the military.
Oh, yeah, 'cause
so
we-
my
bro,
roommate used to
that's-
wake up, and the
yeah.
first thing he did was put one on the bottom and one on the top. And I'm like,
standing on the toilet, bro.
So I go, what is that? Right? And he goes, oh well, this is like nicotine and
It's
stuff.
like gum.
He's like, you can try it. It's sweet. Nothing's gonna happen to you. Sure as shit. He gets me one. I put it on my lip. He tells me how to do it. He walks out of the room. I get so nauseous. Now I call one of my buddies like, bro, can you cook? Can you bring me food? Like, but I was jacked up.
Yeah.
Out of one little thing that he gave me. I was like,
lightheaded.
first and last time I ever did that thing was in the military. In tech school.
I've seen
So
what
yes,
happens when you have a cigar
It's-
and like a
it's
drink.
bad.
It's fucking
It's bad.
hilarious.
Right?
This guy,
It's bad.
oh, yeah, you know,
It's bad.
guys,
I can't
I'm
do it.
fucked up,
I
bro.
can't
It's not
do
even
it.
the drink; it's a cigar.
It was a cigar.
fell asleep on me on the way home.
I wasn't even drinking when we went to the winery. I literally just had the cigar.
Yeah, that was it.
I wasn't drinking. I don't drink. It's
crazy.
So I have the cigar, and they see how I get with nicotine. It just destroys me, bro.
Yeah,
I
because
feel
you're
like
like
I'm
that,
drunk
yeah, you
with
get
the
all-
cigar.
Dude's
Some people
out
coming up to me like,
throwing
"You
up.
okay?" I was like, "I'm good." You're like, "You're not drunk." I was like, "I'm not." Trust me, I haven't even
really
drank
not
anything.
I'm good.
It
You're
was
really
just a
not
cigar.
Coca-Cola with a cigar.
It's like I'm not drunk at all. But yeah, so you get into the military. Now you're predetermined because obviously everything you've witnessed as a kid, right, with your parents. So now you
It was
go.
it was like starting a new life.
You go into the
'Cause
military, and that's what you
we're
do.
all, we walk into this dome, we're all straight. Like it was the greatest 6 years of my life. I love that shit. I was like, you just went in there, bro. You just dropped off.
You're guiding a good question, and I want to kind of touch on that because I want to hear what he says about this. It took me a long time, and I could be wrong. It's just my personal opinion. I always wondered, like, when we get into the topic of suicide and topic of drinking and driving, and drugs and whatever, and when the military, and I'm always like, man, like, why does it always happen to good people, like in the military? And then it almost feels like every time I hear a story, it's like I fucking left this traumatic home, like, experience to get away from this, and now you're kind of bringing that luggage with you. It's not like you're leaving it behind. A lot of people, including myself, I felt like,
We
a
all
lot
walk
of
around with
times.
baggage.
A lot of times I felt like, wow, like all these good people are going into the military to serve our country and they want to give back and they want to do this. And sometimes a lot of people are leaving the military or going to the military to get away from their
leave a shitty
toxic
situation, yeah.
I would think
situation.
that's almost more common than not. That's probably more the people that go into the
But I didn't know that for such
You know
a
how
long
they
time,
say
like
misery loves company? That's where misery
That's what-
meets in the military.
How many marriages are there in the first year?
I was gonna ask. So that's
And then
what
we divorced in the second
That's
year.
what I want to guide
We
it
call it
to.
get repossessed.
So you go. So again, I don't know the terminology, so he can say the
Speak.
terminologies. But you go into boot camp and you go into your tech schools and whatever else.
You can say AIT.
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 Cadres,
What does AIT stand for?
I have no idea. That's like a.
Is that Air
Army.
Force?
No, it's an
Institute
Army
of Technology.
term.
This
Yeah.
is
What'd you
my-
say?
The Air Force Institute of
That's
Technology.
it's not even a.
It's
we
probably
say-
not,
we call it
but
tech school.
That'd be my.
All right, so tech
We
school.
call it
That's
tech
my
school.
guess.
Yeah.
So you go to tech school. Where in your career, when your military career, do you start noticing some of this possible trauma coming back up, and now you're responding to it, like with the alcohol? When was that?
It was definitely not. It didn't come back up, man. Like,
No?
no, because like I'm telling you, from like I said, it was like starting a new life. Nobody knew me. Nobody knew my past. It was like it's like being a child.
So you legit got a fresh new start.
Yeah,
when you
it's
go
like
to Air Force.
it's like seriously like
Clean
starting
slate.
kindergarten. Like nobody. We all don't know each other. We're all gonna start growing up together. We're gonna bounce around in different bases.
that
but
a-
you can link back up?
Was that a
Yeah.
good feeling for you?
100%. I absolutely like people like thank you for your service. I'm like thank you for giving me a chance or a country to serve. Absolutely, that's
Incredible. That's an incredible perspective for sure. Somebody who's going from a traumatic experience at home and saying that they're in different schools, and I can kind of testle that a little bit. My parents got divorced, and unfortunately, we went from one school to the next, and we moved a lot because of income stuff, and not having a lot of money.
Look at you now. Started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Now we're here. you get a new start, and that's incredible, you know. But you said that the drinking and the stuff didn't really start till the military.
It's social.
That's how it starts, right?
Oh yeah.
So it started socially. It didn't start as a problem. It probably started like, here we
It
go.
never starts as a problem. That's the thing. Like everybody
It just
always
starts
eases
from
into
close.
it.
You remember what the effect you get from doing it, and then when
Which
you
is what?
want to have that like numbing, derogatory, you just intoxication destroys motivation. You can go. It's just if you go down the line, like you talk about commercials and stuff, everybody thinks it's a good thing. We should start selling commercials about DWIs, arrests. Like, it's a really. I live this subject right here very very loudly because I don't think really too many things really good come from alcohol. Like there's some laughter. It's like, you know, if you have a positive night, you still have a negative to your body.
Well, not to mention, I mean, I've seen a lot of these neuroscientists talking about it. They're like, one drink can alter your entire brain.
Well, it destroys the gray
what
matter
brain?
that's in your brain permanently.
Right.
So each time you drink, it affects the gray matter in your brain.
That's great.
So I guess I better put the Jaeger bombs down, huh?
What?
You control
I know
yourself.
what you
It's a
said.
whole different ballgame.
I don't need to lose any more gray matter, all right? So here's a question, because a lot of the listeners, / viewers now, I don't know who has experience with alcohol in any capacity. So if you had to explain to somebody who maybe doesn't have or never had a drinking problem, and now maybe they might be struggling with this, you know, but they don't really quite know it, where was your bridge? Where did you start to realize, like, this isn't really about having fun and social anymore. This is like a way I'm coping, and this is gonna get messy really quick.
It was a routine. Yeah, it definitely it became a routine. Like you said, when I started drinking socially,
What were you drinking?
I think shit. It was probably Jaeger bombs and those. This is in 2003 now.
That's all that is.
Jaeger bombs.
That's the only reason why I love Jaeger bombs.
protein!
It reminds me of the
GTO.
Every time I go, let's get a Jaeger bomb. These guys go, what are we in fucking high school? Ask him.
It's the military.
remember growing
First time
up,
I had
I
Jaeger
don't want
bombs
fucking Jaeger
was
bombs.
in the military.
It
That's what I'm
depends what
saying.
which
There's a
state
lot
of
of
country
stuff
you're
that
in.
happens
You're
in
in
the
Korea,
military.
drink some soju. Like,
So maybe I haven't left my
wake up
military
in
career
right,
behind.
You're not really
Jaeger
done
bombs
yet.
I'm not
are fucking
recovered.
nasty.
All right, so,
I got more stories, and then, like I said, there was a lot of funny stories.
so you
Like,
start
know,
drinking socially, right?
Yeah.
You were active duty. At what point did you, like he said, did you realize that you were drinking more than just socially? Now this was becoming a thing where you needed this in your life. Where was it prior to your first deployment? Was it during your first deployment? After your first? At what point did you start figuring out? You're like, holy shit, I need to drink.
This is a rough one. It doesn't really bother me. It's pretty loud. End of my career, I had met this girl, and I was like, "This is it, man." I really fell in love. And first time in my life, I knew what love was. Like I was like, "Holy shit!" Like the first how many years of my life, I was just, you just like when you follow example, you're like, oh, after you date a girl for X amount of time, you start saying this L word. I love you, 143. Yeah, not so much. So I fell in love with this girl. Like I gave her everything. I was always a selfish person. I wasn't selfish because I was like neat like that. I was just everything I had to have, everything I got in my life, I had to work for.
Yeah.
Nobody, no handouts. So it was like, I'm not going to give it to someone that doesn't want to do the same amount of work I want to do. If you want to do work with me, I can share everything. I love sharing. I pay it forward, but I had given her everything. Like she went through a divorce. I had a Mercedes at the time, C43, love the thing. I gave it to her. Yo, just drive my car, I'm good. I was getting out last deployment. I deploy, I come back, I out process. I'm like, I'm going to live in Colorado for the rest of my life. This is great. I get a job. I'm running a trucking company. I got a company pickup truck. She's got the Mercedes. Everything's good. Come home one day. She had left her email open. This is like DOS times. This is not like iPad type shit. And like I'm grazing by it. I look at it, and it's extremely expressive, descriptive email about how she slept with a guy that was way below her level. I don't know how you want to politically correct those terms. Yeah. And how it wasn't so bad, yada, yada, yada. So I'm reading this and I can tell you right, talking about blackout. Somehow I got down to my nitty-gritty and was able to just forward it to my email. Went to work the next day, print out a bunch of copies, came home, put it everywhere.
Talk about petty, huh?
Yeah, I came home. I came back and put it everywhere because I didn't know how. I still have people. I'm hard to talk when I have a situation with someone. I'm hard to talk. I have a hard time talking with them because I do get if I know the truth and you start bullshit, I'm like I snap. It's an uncontrollable. I'm working on it. I read this email. I was like this. I have my whole life. So I just I would have stayed in. This everything's good. I'm ready to start my life. And like I had to like fucking literally like pack up my car and start driving to New York. Like it crushed me. That's when I got home. You know, my stepmom, which is a great woman, she had cancer at the time. Like it was a toxic household. Like, you know, she didn't choose that. With dad's, you know, everything. I'm living in like a 6x10 fucking room.
Yeah.
It just got worse and worse and worse.
That's
and
when
I
the
was just
drinking went downhill.
drinking. Yeah, I was just drinking because I said back to not knowing anybody, nowhere to go, nothing. And I'm
You
just
come
like,
back and everything's
there
different
was
from when you
something I
left.
just couldn't find that I didn't have the I didn't push. I know
Which
there's
you
nothing.
dove into the one coping mechanism
that was
you knew
easy
from
and
your
quick.
Parents, that you knew from the military.
And inexpensive.
yeah.
It's something you already knew.
It just
You've known
drags
about it
you
your
in.
whole life.
It's not illegal.
I drank myself.
It's not illegal.
Not
Easy to
illegal.
obtain.
And you knew about it your whole life. You've seen your
It's
whole
easy
life.
and
People
it's
that are-
everywhere. It's quick. It's so easy.
Your
But
whole
you can get
life,
that
you say
24/7,
you've seen people
365.
do it. So to you, that was normal because you seen your mom do it, you seen your dad do it, your stepdad, your stepmom, everybody did it. So now you're going through your hard time, and then this is normal to you because
follow
every
the-
time you saw
yeah.
somebody else
Follow
going through a hard
example.
time,
Same shit.
that's what they did.
Just like they taught you to tie your shoes. You know, they tell you like this is I have a problem with drinking, and you follow example.
Well, you remember when you said that you like would block out, without even drinking.
Oh,
You're-
purposely
It was
doing it.
it was like mentally you just block out. The problem with drinking, again, for me, you have enough to drink and then you really block out and you check out as well. And that to me is kind of like the scary part.
Yeah.
Where I have a few drinks and if I'm angry, I express the anger rather than being able to cope with it. Right? Or if I'm sad, I really show my sadness. Or, it really enhances that emotion. So what scares me is that if we are indeed using alcohol as a coping mechanism in law enforcement and in the military and first responders, we got a fucking problem.
Yeah. Not only does it, with the emotions, but it also decreases your ability to control those emotions.
Right. Which is what I think I meant to say, and I completely forgot to say the control part. I don't even think you have to control things. Sometimes they're like in control by themselves, right? It's like, I think the human anatomy, it almost causes you to lose control, because then you're angry and you really put it out there, and instead of you having a conversation you were supposed to have, now you're fighting with somebody about it,
Right.
Where does that start to affect you? Like, because now you're home and you said, God bless that stepmom of yours, and your dad was drinking or whatever else. Like, what happens then? Like, what's the next part of you?
Who's John now?
I definitely stayed to myself for a long period of time. I started hanging out going to tattoo shops. Definitely some good people I definitely met that I still.
You got a lot of
friends
cool
with.
tattoos, man.
It's a storyline of my life. Everything's got a story, man. Everything's got a story.
When did you start getting the tattoos?
When I came home.
When you came home, so you didn't have any in the military?
I had like two.
You had
two, just like
'Cause now you have
3 letters.
You got neck, you got
but
hands,
everything
legs.
has a story.
Now
There is zero.
Now this is just another way to cope, though.
Exactly.
Kinda go through. 'Cause I have another
100%.
friend
So it was
that's very
drinking,
similar.
it was drinking and tattoos. Well, I love tattoos, and I think I
Yeah, but
cope
we're
with
getting
tattoos.
we
so.
we have a friend that does very similar. I mean, the dude's just getting tatted. He went through.
People like said like
he's
33.
getting
Like people was like,
yeah.
oh, like I was like instantaneous. Like it was a gang number. Like no, I was 33 years old when my mom overdosed.
Yeah.
So that's how I remember. I'm not a big RIP guy. Like, oh, I got a penny on my arm. I was like, when I used to, my grandfather, I used to walk to church with him. He used to tell me to pick up pennies. So good luck. So like when he passed, that's was like everything has like a
Everything has a meaning to you. Yeah, you just don't have like random shit on you.
You carry that love with you.
I say random shit on you because I'm the same way. Like
No,
everything I
I
have on my
I
body.
laughed when I got random shit on me at some place.
I
Well,
did have
everything
one,
I
like,
have
I
on
gotta
my
cover it
body
up.
has
Yeah,
a meaning to
tribal
me.
band,
Like when
100%,
people
yeah.
ask me like, what does that mean? I can tell you what my tattoos mean. Like
where it
there's
was,
not a
that
single
point in my
tattoo on my
life.
body that I'm gonna be like, oh, I just got it to get it. There's not a single one. Like everything has a meaning to me, and I am full of tattoos as well. But everything has a meaning, and shit, I applaud the people that just get random tattoos because I'm
She's
not
strong,
able to do
yeah.
it, but I know that there's more people that are able to do random tattoos than people that do meaningful tattoos.
Whatever makes them happy. Like if you can control your drinking, I don't hate on people.
Yeah.
I just know I can't, so I don't.
I have a few Chinese symbols I got covered up.
What do they mean? General So's combo.
those
You know what the
videos
best
where it's
part is?
like-
You know when I got them? I was going into the Marine Corps and I got strength, which I was not fucking strong. I weighed like 160 pounds.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen this twig when he was.
Yo.
Wisdom? What kind of fucking wisdom do you have at
Definitely no
17?
wisdom.
And patience.
Till this day,
Yeah,
no
no
wisdom.
And then patience. I still don't have
still
fucking
like
patience.
you, John.
So, what the fuck was I thinking? It was
Patience.
strength,
Patience is a hard thing to
wisdom,
grow, my
patience.
friend. Patience
Alright.
and pacifism.
All
Too
right,
hard.
so back to your story. So you start drinking, right? You figure out now. At what point do you figure out
This
I
is-
have a problem? And at what point do you figure out after you figure out that you had a problem. At what point do you figure out I need to do something about this?
Oh, this is a good one. I'm a teamster.
for,
You're in
for
truck.
acknowledging that it was a good one.
I'm a truck driver, and I was working nights at the time. On the way to work, it was probably about 6:30. Driving eastbound Sunrise Highway, right by the
How old are you
Freeport.
now?
Shit, man. I don't know. It's 2015.
2015?
Actually, 2014. Sorry.
Okay.
Took a year to get convicted.
31.
Yeah.
It took a year to
I
get
don't
convicted.
count very well. That's not my strong point. I know I'm 45 now, though.
Hey,
But,
45.
I'm driving through. This lady illegally came out, blew. She was actually, I think she blew a red light. But I can't say it's her fault. I shouldn't have been on the road. She hits me. My initial response is try to restart the car, and then I realized it doesn't start. And that was this sign. Like, it was just like in my head. I was like, "This is it, man. I'm done. Like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore." First 2 years.
So you were drunk.
We'll get. This is a good one. It's a good. I can
Hold your horse.
Where I am here
Hey,
today.
slow down, Angel.
Where I am today that's why this is why I need a stock in Kleenex for fucking showing emotion and crying. Not only right now, I'll tell you when though, but because it's still surreal to me where I am today to where I was. First 2 years, security forces. I did LE actually fucking in Texas. So I didn't say nothing to nobody. I walked against the wall. I could tell you exactly where I was standing, or actually leaning against the wall. And Freeport PD rolls up. They come up. He walks up to me like looking. I just turn around. I put my hands behind my back. I said, palms out, thumbs up, double lock, say check. You guys all know that routine. And he looks at me. He's like, "What's up?" I'm like, "I'm drunk." He's like, all right, cool." He's like, I'll cuff you in the front 'cause you're pretty cooperative. I'm like, "Oh, no problem. I'm all about.
crazy.
I'm ready to go. Like I'm like doing his job for him."
You didn't even let him
that's
test you.
nasty.
One, you were the victim because somebody crashed
Yeah.
into you, so
But
he probably wouldn't
I was
even
on
have,
a mission.
He probably wouldn't even have checked you to begin
Oh
with.
yeah, it gets there. Oh, it gets there. And then when they close the doors of the car, then you're kind of contained space. Because I was that guy, which I hear 1,000 times on the road.
fucking-
I was drinking vodka because I thought nobody could smell it. So we get there, and he's like, "Oh shit, yeah, you do smell." He gets in there, but I was extremely honest. I live on integrity. You know, you guys have the ethics, the cores, values. And I told him everything. I was okay with it. Like, you know, I was like, "This is it." And he convinced me, like, you know, to blow instead of, you know, just telling. Because I originally, I guess, declined it. I blew a .273. God damn. But he was like, "You could easily got away with this." But I told him, I said I didn't want to.
That's felony.
Yeah,
That's felony.
yeah. But
.18 is felony already. Yeah.
they kept me with them because it was Freeport. They kept me with them. They fed me their wives cooked dinner. Like, they were great people, both of them. They brought me to Mineola Central Booking. They let them know, like, this guy's, he's a veteran. He struggles. He's very honest. He's very, he's not they put me in a cell by myself. Gave me extra bologna sandwiches and warm milk. I did not drink it. I made it with a pillow. But God willing, I woke up. I got arraigned. Went home. I pulled out. I don't even know if I don't know if we had Google then or whatever. But I pulled out Seafield. I called him up the next
2015
day.
Google.
Yeah. I called. I told my dad. I said, "Yeah, can you drop me off tomorrow in Hempstead?" He's like, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to rehab." He looked at me. I'm like, "Yeah." And that was I had to do. That was the start of my sobriety. And like that, I went there.
But
and
you
I
came to that
myself.
conclusion yourself.
Yeah,
like
'cause
nobody
you
mandated
can't.
you to
Yeah,
do this.
no,
So
man.
you said, "Hey, I have a problem. Now I'm getting locked up. So now I have to figure this problem out." So you, being mature in your own head, you go, "I need to figure out a solution." You
Ain't
tell
no
your
one
dad,
coming to
"Drop
save me
off."
but me.
That's it.
That's the bottom line, man. It's
That's
like,
all it takes.
as much as you got problem, you gotta it's like you could tell, especially like I'm like in the recovery world. Like, there's a whole big gap in between that till today. But like, now I'm 45 years old. I got a scholarship for drug and alcohol counseling, like to be a school. I'm 45 years old.
brother.
I bribed
Congratulations,
my way
brother.
through high school.
Congrats.
I don't even remember.
that fucking
I don't
thing,
remember even
absolutely.
doing. I don't even remember doing a homework in high school throughout my whole. And I got Regents diploma. I definitely I was on roll. I was on roll in home ec.
Well, it's not about me, right?
But it was just, it's just a journey, man. It's like, but
Can I ask you a question?
you
What
can ask me any question, man.
What kind of people-
09664 Oh, you want to do my social? Run it up, bro.
is social? What kind of people are in this sobriety world? Because a lot of people just think that sobriety world is just a bunch of fucking drunks.
Yeah.
Just degenerate drunks. What kind of people? What kind of careers
Everybody.
are some of these people?
Everybody. I got, I have
Name some of the professions.
Lawyers.
lawyers, law
Doctors.
enforcement. Dude, just the whole Rolodex. It affects everybody. There's not one.
It's a non-discriminatory
It does
drug.
not.
Yeah.
Bro, it affects everybody.
John,
Everybody.
how many years have you been clean now? Since that
The,
time,
the
obviously.
world record of sobriety is 24 hours. I have a counter, an app on my phone. January 14th, I will have 8 years. Which doesn't matter. I woke up today. I didn't drink. I'm fucking sober. It's all about today. I got to live in today. I can't
got
worry
you.
about tomorrow.
I got you.
You know, because I don't like, especially when you got newcomers or someone that
I
wants
have
to
a
get
family
to
member that's a recovered alcoholic, and same thing. She goes to her meetings.
Yeah, I love
And
it.
she loves it. She loves it.
The two families are like, you know, I do have extremely close family. Like my aunt is like my mother. I have cousins and stuff like that. I still have a small knit of very close family, but the other new family I have is also between veterans and the fellowship.
Can I bring you back for just a second? Because if there's anybody on this podcast listening right now that might be struggling with alcohol or drugs, I want them to know what was the first day that you walked into? Like, so here's an opportunity. You go to these AA meetings and you're also now a mentor.
Like an ambassador.
And what did ambassador, your mentor.
What did you feel going into it?
What would you say that is going to look like for somebody who may be scared or nervous or walking into the unknown of sitting in one of those AA meetings? What did that feel like for you the first day you were there?
You're awkward. You don't know anybody. It's
So you're back to step one, like when you were in school. You know, you don't have the support group. You don't have. And how did you feel leaving that day?
because like it's all about stereotypes, because that's everybody's stereotypes. Everything gets stereotyped. But it's a bunch of drunk that smoking cigarette. That they're just a bunch of losers, whatever like that. So you walk in there and probably because of my ego or something, I don't want to be there. So I'm just trying to figure something out, figure out a program of recovery for myself. But once you start opening up and it's a very welcoming place. It's almost like True North. It's extremely similar to True North. How you walk in there, hey, good morning, how are you? You want a bagel? It's very, very, very similar. It's very open. It's very caring. There's a lot of love there. There's a lot of gratitude. But just like anything and anywhere in life, between church or anything, you're gonna have people that you don't get along with, people that aren't there for the right reasons, or they're pointing fingers, or they're.
Why might they be there for the wrong reason?
Because they want to be there to make their wife happy, or
Is this a mandated?
get their probation officer
I was gonna say, is this a mandated thing?
Yeah,
No,
so
it is a
it's for
voluntary.
you. It wasn't, but there's people that
they
do
probably-
get mandated.
yeah.
Like they go to court, and the court is like, hey, now you
the
have to
POs.
now you
Yeah, but
have to
same thing,
complete
like,
this
same thing
program.
like rehab, though.
So yes, it
People that are
it could be
mandated,
mandated,
it
but some
mixes
people
up
go
other people.
voluntarily. Yes.
Messes up for other people.
And that's probably why he's saying that people might be there for the wrong reasons, because
Right.
when you're mandated, in your mind you still don't have a problem. You have to recognize that you have a problem on your own.
If you're-
So when you're being mandated, you're like there against your will per se. So you complete the program, then you get out with whatever it is that you had going on, and you go right back to it because you weren't there for your own reasons. When
so
you go there
similar.
voluntarily, like you did, it's a completely different ball field, because now you're there because you want to recover, not because somebody's telling you to recover.
It's like those two cops. They could have said whatever they want. They could have said you could walk away from this. I didn't
Yeah.
want to walk away. I would have put the cuffs on myself.
Yeah.
So I want to fast forward a little bit now. So you've done some incredible work.
But hold off. The one thing that I was just saying, because I was being polite, is that like when you go somewhere because you think it's to please somebody else, you're never going to do that, because if you're going there to help somebody else, it's not going to work. It's the same thing as like going on a dating street. Yo, I got a Benz, I got this, and like next thing you know, you really like the girl, and you get serious, and she realized, maybe you got a Huffy or a bicycle because you were renting that car. Then this shit comes out. Like that's why I extremely believe in honesty, man, integrity. I'm not cocky about it. I'm not egotistical about not lying. Sometimes I'm going to tell you something you don't want to hear, but that's the truth, and it's going to come out one way or the other. So you might as well get out in the beginning.
Yeah.
Are you mentoring people right now?
I just be me, man. If someone has a question, there's one thing, definitely an Irish say, like, I have 2 ears and one mouth. I try to listen twice as much as I talk. If they have a question, I'll answer it.
Really?
If they want to just listen.
Because you talk a lot.
It's fun. Because you ask me questions. I say, if you got a question, I'll answer it. I just answer your own question.
Hey, the truth is gonna come out. You can't have the truth.
I was going to start and I fucking waving this shit.
He had a drinking problem too, right?
I did it.
Not you. Freaking the guy's like, you can't have that.
But it's like, I'll tell you, it's like we can talk about the roller coaster of this topic. It's like being in school, though. I'm like learning more. It's good that actually the gentleman that gave me the scholarships is actually a retired major from the Army, from the Bronx.
Yeah, but when you
That's
told
he
me
was
that-
from. He was us.
Yeah.
You know, he
I
came
remember
for
him
streets.
coming. So he came to the academy, to come say hi, and he was telling me he was signing up for a class. And then he's like, "You'll never believe what happened." I go, "What's up, John?" He goes, "This fucking guy just gave me a scholarship." I go, "What? What scholarship?" He goes, "I'm going to go through this program at no cost." The guys in the major, I was like, "Dude, that's freaking awesome." We met up, talked to a little bit. I was like, God really does work in incredible ways, because you probably didn't even have an idea that this is maybe even something you wanted to do. You were there just for that course.
I was there. I was looking for a scholarship for the beginning course. It's called a CERP. It's like a certified peer advocate. I took a job. I walked away from the union, put my book on a shelf to work in recovery, and it was like a 90% pay cut. But I did the best I can, because I got paid in gratitude and faith.
That's
and
it.
That's where I wanted to be, because that's my I feel
You're
like,
here for a
I
reason.
feel like freaking a weird person. Like, this is my call in life. I like to help people, bro, because someone helped me, and I'll never forget those people that helped me. You don't forget the people that had you on the bottom when you're on the way up.
Absolutely.
But I went there for the thing, and he just pushed. He's like, "Yo, why don't you tell me about yourself? Give my biography." And he pushed a piece of paper across the desk. He's like, "I want to give you that. I'm looking for something like that. I want to help other veterans and other people." And I'm like, "This is associate's degree, bro."
It's not covered.
I'm like, all right. He's like, "It's gonna be fully covered books, everything." I'm like, "You just gotta go to class."
How's that going?
It's going.
It's
He's like, it's going.
Wednesday was the last class of my first semester, and knock on wood,
Let's go,
I
baby.
got an A.
Let's go,
I got
baby.
an A on my midterm. I did my midterm on alcoholism in veterans, because this is the same thing. Like when you talk about the smarter I get, the angrier I get, because there's like this this world gets controlled by money. It's like you talk about recovery and
This is the time we get to use that line. We love to write quotes that people say that we love. And we've been talking about this one pretty much every single podcast.
Since we started the first podcast.
But there's a guy named
But it's
Jay.
you can identify
fits.
with it. It just
It fits.
It's powerful.
It fits. It's powerful.
Yeah.
It goes, give yourself grace for not doing better when you didn't know better. So all this stuff that you worked up from the youth to your teenage years, to move around, to going to the military, to not having a drinking problem, to bad relationships, to all this negative shit that's led to this, you are now passing your midterm. You're now helping veterans. You're now giving back. You're now doing a full circle around what most people are looking for, and that is comfort, that is recovery, that is hope, and that is a freaking big word, man, hope. And we're kind of getting to the end of the podcast, so I wanted you to have a little bit of time. I wanted you to have some time to talk about Warrior Ranch a little bit. How did you get involved? What are you doing, with them? And coming up December 25th or 24th?
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day, you're doing something incredibly special. Can you talk about that?
Yeah.
Oh, can you talk before you even talk about what you're doing special? I want you to talk about the reason why you decided to do that. Because when we spoke on Sunday, you said there was a reason why you came up with that idea, right?
All right. Let's start.
It's around the holidays.
I could get it close real quick, because the reason I got involved with the Warrior Ranch, I was working, to do my job. I'm listening to a podcast, and you're on it. And you're talking about the Warrior Ranch.
Was it good?
It was excellent. It was amazing.
Hell yeah.
He says he's not
Top-notch.
famous.
Hell yeah, brother.
He says he's not famous.
You're not famous.
I'm not famous. I'm just well known.
He's just well known.
And it's my force. I put myself out there whether people like it or not.
That's
I
it.
reached out to you. You gave me Juliet Hack's email, which runs the Warrior Ranch. I reached out to her. I told her what I could do, what I've been through, what I could do, what I can add to, what I can give, what I can help with. And I met up with her, and then it took off. She's like my sister. Even like her mother's like my mother. Like it's a great equine therapy for veterans, first responders, and their families. And it's a non-judgmental situation where it's just like, you got every branch there, you got law enforcement there, you got everybody. It's like it's
Why are these people coming there?
just to relax. It's like to just get out of your own head, like the discharge, like to change your, just take a day off.
So they have
Mental
programs
health,
for like
yeah.
PTSD, mental
we can start,
health.
we start from the bottom to the top. You
depression,
want to do
anxiety.
grooming, yeah. It's like not even. It's as much as like it is focused that we use they have their tools, and you don't realize how much you're helping yourself by you're helping the whole.
First time I dealt with a horse, they actually told me, they're like, they can sense you.
That's good.
So like if you're very uptight,
100%.
they're gonna sense it.
Exactly.
So
you're nervous, they're nervous.
Exactly. So they told me that, and that it was very therapeutic the first time. Did I say that right? because I know I have an accent. No.
Therapeutic. That was beautiful. It was with an accent, but it was
Okay.
beautiful.
So
Therapeutic.
I was told that it helped me out a lot dealing with the horse and seeing how calm they were. Even though maybe inside I don't know that I was as calm as they were, and it was
Let's talk about
I haven't been to Warrior Ranch yet,
No,
but
why
I'm
you waiting
wanting.
for? Come on down.
We gotta take a
Well,
ride.
so for those of people who don't know, we know what is Warrior Ranch.
Warrior Ranch Foundation is an equine therapy situation program, not a situation program for veterans, first responders, and their families. We actually rescue horses and we work with them. We build them up and we sometimes adopt them back out and then get new horses. And it's just they help us, we help them. It's just a circle of a lot of gratitude.
I
love,
want to talk about that a little bit because I have just experience with it. So the way we explain it to people is you go to the ranch, right? You go to Warrior Ranch. Sometimes there's a one-on-one. Sometimes there's groups. Sometimes there's events. You can go there at different times. Obviously, we'll put up their link so people can go there. You get there. What does the horse do for you? Here's what the horse does for you. There's something called rumination, which we've all talked about. You get in your own head, you overthink, and you're constantly in this loop, right? This negative loop that keeps you worrying about the things you're worrying about with anxiety or depression or whatever kind of trauma you have built into it. By going to groom the horses, okay, by going to this ranch, by getting in front of this 1,000 freaking pound animal, okay, is breaking that pattern. It's breaking that loop. All right. It gets you to stop thinking about that problem enough to realize that there's other things going on right now, which is called grounding. Right. So now while you're grooming the horse, you're no longer focusing on this negative thought, this negative pattern, the trauma, the worries of yesterday, tomorrow, and when you get home. Right. Right now, all you're worried about is not getting kicked in the freaking face by this fucking animal. Right. Which is why he said it's therapeutic. Because just like church, the way that I get the feeling of going to church and praying and singing, whatever else, of that, like, you have no other choice.
That calmness.
Every time.
That calmness, you have no choice. You have a brush. You're brushing, you're stroking the horse. You're focusing on getting
Wait,
to the...
hold on. Let's not just
We can't just made the same thing.
You learn to trust the horse. The horse learn to trust you. It's fucking a bond.
We didn't. It's just right now they were too serious for too long. They need to break it.
They're okay.
This is what happens. You're stroking the horse's head, the side. Let him have his fun. It's all right. It's all
When
right.
you're over there to stroke his ego.
Yeah, he's having a great
I'd
time.
rather stroke my ego than the horse.
It's a big thing to stroke, dude.
So now they're also doing a different program. I haven't quite
There's
done
a
it
lot
yet
of programs.
with the carriages, right?
Yeah, it's called riding.
What is it?
Karting.
Karting?
Yeah.
have-
And driving.
You're driving the
Hey, we
horse.
have roping. They're doing that. We have a couple programs out there like that.
So you go out there and they had a horse. Is Sully still out there?
Sully's out there.
So that's the one with the one eye, right?
Yes, that is correct.
There's a horse with one eye.
That guy saved.
All right.
That guy's saved. I got stories. We could do multiple podcasts. How that guy saved my life, man. Like one day I was really losing my shit. It was three of us. And it was me, Juliet, and my friend Jeff and Sully in the indoor arena. And like Sully was off. He was like no leash, no lead, or anything. And like when we were talking, like he could see it, and he came up to me. Like he came up to me. He's only a 1,200-pound horse with his head. He's like right here,
Oh, yeah.
like that.
Hey.
As soft as that. Like, bro, it's gonna be okay.
Catch
man.
your
He looked at
attention.
me like, yo, it's gonna be good, man. And I went and got help, and it worked.
1,200-pound horse with no eye, and they
One
teach you
eye.
about with one eye, missing an eye, right?
You know how it is.
If you walk up on his side where he's missing his eye,
He'll get started.
all right, he overcompensates with this side
He's nervous.
to look, and he shifts his body, which essentially he can get hurt, And then when you and him build a bond, it gives him trust, and now he doesn't care that you walk up on that side where he's missing his eye, right? If the horse calms down, because you said he feels you, he senses you, the whole arena could be as calm as a cucumber, and you're just walking around the arena with him and making him do circles and trotting and doing whatever you want him to do because you gain that trust. So that's why I think it's so important for the work that you're doing, okay, with the AA meetings, with Warrior Ranch, with what you're going to be doing on the 25th. Let's end it by talking about that. What are you doing on the 25th?
The 25th, which is Christmas Day. Angel brought up before, we were talking at church the other day, Thanksgiving, I was alone. And then, it was by my choice. I could have been somewhere if I wanted, but I was
Yeah,
just,
with
it's
me.
just so
I
used
invited
to
you.
everybody. Like, listen, just like you said, like, I don't like to ask. Like, it's my own head. It's my own, it's one of my deficiencies. I'm learning to make phone calls because a lot of times you don't make phone calls, you might not get the answer you want.
Yeah.
So you sometimes you deflect. I was by my house. I was in my
think
own
I'm the
head,
king
and
of
it was
deflection.
rough on me. And I know I went to like 2 AA meetings, and the second meeting I went to, there was a couple of veterans there. And we looked at each other like you always have that bond. Like, you're not alone, bro. We're good. Like, I don't give a fuck. What branch it is. Whatever. Is when you take that oath, man, it's a totally different ballgame, and you get drilled into your head, and you become a different person. And I love it. I would never change that in my life. But I went home and I said, you know what? I said, I bet there's always more people, just like there's more people that are alcoholic, may fighting with substances, whatever it is. There's always other people struggling. So why struggle by myself when I can take a charge and create a solution to my problem, to other people's problems? And I had the opportunity to be, this Warrior Ranch, declared me for whatever, silver ambassador. So it's just be able to, I like to put myself out there, and I like to honestly embarrass myself so people know it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
So I brought it to Eileen, and we talked about it, and we developed a plan. So for Christmas Day, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., I'll be there. We're gonna have volunteers there, other veterans there. We're gonna have food there. We'll have games there. Just whatever it is. We're gonna be there. It's going to be not like, an atmosphere where it's just like, just chilling. There's couches out there.
This is for veterans, law enforcement. If you're
their
by
families.
yourself and you need something to do, this is a great, I would say, program that John and the Warrior Ranch are putting together for this Christmas. Take advantage of it. If you're looking to go somewhere and you're looking to be around other people, like-minded people,
Or even volunteer.
or even volunteer to help.
Which even with families, that's a great thing. If you have young kids or even teenage
100%.
kids, hey, listen, we're gonna go do this. Gonna see what.
I don't
a
know
lot of
about
people
you
do
guys,
that.
but maybe
Sacrifice
we'll
their
go
lives.
for a little
Yeah.
bit and come back.
Yeah.
Just
I'll-
come by, give John a hug too.
I'm working in the
Stroke
morning.
a
And
horse,
on the face.
stroke a horse or two.
Oh, there'll be a couple of you guys out there. So,
Yeah.
like you're saying, like it's called Warrior Ranch No One Left Behind Christmas Project, and it's like
I love it.
it's
Yeah, I
like
love
it. Love the
like I
name.
said, like I came from the bottom, and it's like I wake up every morning and tear up because it's still surreal to me, like to help other people. I got a veterans texting me, thanks for doing this. I'm definitely gonna be there. So look, I didn't want, I had nowhere else to be. I'm glad you gave me some place to be. It's like people donating, giving. It's just like it works, man. I can tell you, it's like you guys heard my story from the bottom. Like you were talking about, the mistakes I made as a child or, throughout those years. Would people are like, oh, would you change something? No, because it made me who I am today.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
know how it is to be not okay. I know how it is to be homeless. I know how it is not have to have shit. That's why I like to help people. Listen, man, like I listen to, there's a lot of people, John Joseph, Goggins, Jocko. I'm familiar with these guys. I talk to them, I'm friends with them. And like, there's a lot of things and you take things from other people. You take suggestions. You figure out, you create your own. I use the sarcasm talk. I create my own cocktail of recovery. I've had to work this thing. And like, I like to give. I don't like it. I'm materialistic. Yeah, some things I like things a lot of cold hard, but they always tell me like, yo, there's no roof rack or trailer hitch on that hearse, bro. You can't take it with you.
Yep.
So just let's how about share? Weird as it sounds, but
Amen to that, man.
and something I was told is like you got to give what you were given so you can keep what you got. And like talk about church, man. Like you look up, I look up to you. I looked up to you.
I will be putting that
I
out.
look up to you, and like we got this family. It's just church. I'm like I go to church almost every Sunday. Whether if I'm working or something, I'll do it on the couch because we have the web, and it's just they put it into real life perspective. I sit there and cry with pride and gratitude, man. It's just people helping other people, and it's just the love and like there's a healthy way of love and way to live and be positive. Yeah, you're gonna have bad days, but like the grass only grows because it rains, man. If you have good days every day, you're never gonna appreciate it because it's gonna be a regular thing.
Yeah.
you gotta have
Yep.
checks and balances, and it's,
Into
it's
that.
hard. It's not
That's
easy,
awesome.
man, but I know it's worth it.
So this episode has gone through a lot. Started with the struggles you went through, the reality you went through that now led you to today, which I think a lot more people will be able to identify with than maybe they want to. I think some people are going to hear this episode.
If
and
you
be
want a
uncomfortable
drama, you got drama.
because I think a lot of people are going to be uncomfortable with this episode because it may relate to them in a way that they
Yeah.
don't want to admit,
Best
which
way-
is great
best
because
way
that's
to-
what this is for.
The best healing way is with drama is through communication.
Yep.
Yep. So with that,
Keep in your head.
amazing story
What
that
works.
you have had and that you've shared with us. To wrap it up, what is something that you would leave or that you want to tell the audience, the viewers, somebody that may be struggling, or just somebody who's listening, some motivation or just anything that you would leave for somebody?
Absolutely don't give up. Absolutely. It does. It's not easy. And, you know, it's just like you going to the gym the first however many 6 months, you're not going to see a difference. But you got to keep going. Like, you know, it's not going to be, you know, it's not fun in the beginning. But you find, like, I got more fun now. I love my fucking life. I love all my friends. I got grads. Like, you talking about, I used to run from the law. Now I run with the law. You talking about who's in AA, who's in this. I don't even like to drive. I got, you know, we got top tier guys. And it's okay, man. It's like, just raise your hand, ask for help, man.
Don't give up. You're worth it.
Yeah, man. I tried to. I definitely, I don't like. I survived suicide. Like, I ate a bunch of pills, but like once it gave me like 60 seconds, I said, "Shit, this ain't the answer." And I called 911, and the officer that responded was a veteran, and he fucking took me to the hospital. He said, "F the ambulance corps, they want to take me somewhere else." But he told me it's okay not to be okay. And after those situations, that's why it gives me, you know, to keep doing what they did. They help. And it's
Wake up and try again.
You help
next day.
somebody, bro.
Yeah.
And it's like they never know how it, you know, how good it feels. Like, you know, you can tell. Ask John Wright, 3rd Precinct, 50-50. That guy saved my life, but he'll never take credit for it. He's like, I didn't save your life. I just told you what road. I told you what road to go. I showed you what road to go down. You went down that road.
Good.
But before I got to boot camp, I thought he was an asshole.
Yeah.
And then I realized he saved my effing life. All those people that I hung out with, like we said before, they're all in prison. All in prison. Multiple. And it's not their first time there.
So with that, I mean, it really, you know, we stay on a high note, but I think the biggest thing with this, and that we've had some instances in our county, right, where we live in NYPD, where cops have passed recently. Your story, or even the last bit you just touched on with your an attempt you went through, is, you know, to never give up. And, you know, we can say it, but you're hearing it from somebody that's truly taken that path and has said the darkness isn't really as dark as we think it is. And especially when you reach out to the person next to you, you can see that it's a lot brighter when you have people next to you. We commend you, dude, for who you are, what you speak, how you share your story. You're very real and open about your story, and I think that's something that's very difficult to do, but it's very important that people get to hear.
If I saved one life, I did my job.
We love you. We're always there for you.
Love you guys too, man. That's what we got in here. A lot of gratitude, a lot of love.
And I think more people need to realize that there's more people out there that love them than they want to think, and there's more people out there that will help them through whatever journey they're going through, because they're not alone in that journey. And the
Never
worst thing you
alone.
can do is give up in that. So
Light at the end of the tunnel. You know, if anybody that's listening to this that doesn't want to reach out to someone that's like superficial or, you know, something like that, track me down. You know, Johnny 5050, I think it's my Instagram.